Welcome everyone to the fifth live videos with me, Milko Kukov, fifth out of seven. And today the topic will be, what does nature do to us? As always, you can put your comments and questions, whatever questions you have in the comments, answer them either during the video or after. If you put the questions after the video, and if you watch the replay, then I'll make sure I answer them as soon as possible. And also make sure you put down in the comments also where you're from and where you're watching from, and so on. So the topic today is what does nature do to us? I'll tell you a quick story and then I'll go a bit into more details. So I remember when I was still working as IT, 4 years ago, maybe 4 or 5, I don't know how many more, but I was working more than 6 years in IT. So I remember that after sitting all day in the computer, I needed something to recharge. So usually during the week, it was hard to go somewhere, but weekends, I was making sure that all the time I was going somewhere. Like every weekend, I was going at least spending a few hours somewhere in the nature, and that was recharging me and giving me, it was releasing the stress and giving me energy, as I look for energy a lot of time, a lot throughout these videos. It was giving me so much energy and recharging me so much, so I could start the next week with like a new person and recharge, reduce the stress, and so on. So I remember sometimes that was the times that I was really starting to feel the difference. I always loved being in nature, and I always feel that it empowers me. But during my work years as IT, where I was sitting, not that now I'm not sitting that much on the computer, that's a bit different. There I was working like 8 hours or 9 hours sitting on the computer almost all day, not really moving much. So the weekend, sometimes there were some weekends that I just couldn't go anywhere, spend any time in the nature. So then the week after, I was so drained and I didn't have any energy. I didn't have good mood and so on and so forth. So that was really affecting not only the way my performance and how I perform and what I do, but it was also affecting my mood and my connection with the others and relationship and so on. So enough with my story. Then I will start with, what does nature do to us? So first, let's start that it helps them. One of the main things is help with our recovery. Yesterday we talked about recovery in the video, and why is it important? How it gives us the power to perform better and to do more and to recover faster, so we have better results and so on. So one of the main things of spending time in nature is that it helps us recover faster. Another thing that is very good, it kind of resets us. So even if you have a very draining week at work, for example, or at home, it doesn't matter, excuse me, then it will help you recharge and get ready for the new challenges, and resets your systems, and it fills you up with energy, so you're ready to take whatever comes to you and whatever you face. So very important thing is, as I mentioned yesterday, about stress, and nature is one of the best ways to release stress, and not only mental stress but also physical stress. Both nature, it's proven to have a positive effect on our moods, on our emotions, and as I mentioned, as in our recovery. So reducing stress, in Japan even, they prescribe it as a cure for depression. When people have depression or anxiety, they prescribe them spending time in nature. So it's extremely powerful. And another thing, that why is it so powerful? It's for our body. That, like, it's not just talking and talking. It's actually, there are some proven there are some proofs that it actually does this to us, and also for hormones, and so it helps hormone balance and so on. But another thing is, for example, spending time in nature, for example, in forest. It's great for it's relaxing for our eyes, because the forest green is the resonance is the in the resonance frequency of the eyes. So when we look at green, it actually helps us. It kind of resonates, so it kind of massages. The simplest way I can explain it is massaging. It massages our eyes, so it makes them relax and recover faster. And another thing is the noise of water. For example, can be on the beach water, can be in the forest from the river, can be like ocean waves and stuff. It's all the moving water. The sound of moving water is, as many of you may know, it's called white sound, which is also the resonance frequency of the ears. So when we listen to it, it's kind of like a massage for our ears. So it helps us recover much faster, and it also massages our brain, and so on, so on, so forth. I'm not going to go too much into details about it, but make sure you go spend some time in nature, because even just for the eyes and your ears, which are related to so many other things, but that's for another day. So another thing that it does to us is, and it's proven that spending time in nature, it it improves our focus and mental energy, and it also increases our productivity. There are many studies that are saying that spending time, for example, if we have a break during work, hello, coaching wheel, if having break during work can actually improve the focus and performance and the mood. So it's like such a benefit, so many benefits you get from just spending a few, like even 20 minutes in the nature, even 10 minutes in the nature, if you have, is so much better than not spending any time in nature. And that improves not only your mood and mental focus and energy and so on. So going to improve, only going to improve your relationships and your connection with other people, but you also improve your performance. You improve your mood, so you will feel much better, you will perform much better, you will probably earn more money because you do much better at work, and so on. Another thing, water, as I mentioned. But let's go back to nature. So a bit more now, what we need to do, what is our nature exposure. It's not just going with the car somewhere, driving to some mountain, see the mountain and go away with the car again and not do anything in the nature. So what we need in order for you to for us to get benefits from nature? First of all, breathe fresh air. So being active in nature is the best thing, because first it helps us breathe fresh air, which increase alkalinity, as I was talking on Tuesday, I think, was talking in the nutrition part. I was talking about alkalinity and acidity. So breathing is one of the best way to increase the alkalinity in the body, so to create alkaline environment in our body. So breathing fresh air and pure air not only help us not get acidity from the pollution, but it also recharges. It helps also with the delivering oxygen, more oxygen to the cells, and so on. It's incredibly many benefits. I'm not going to go too much into detail now. If you don't know what fresh air does to us, just go and try it and you will feel it. You don't need science. You can just feel it. So another thing is that we really need is exposure to sun, something that we lack a lot, because we are, especially now during this pandemic, is pandemic still pandemic. anyway, you spend lots of time inside, and even if we are not inside, we go outside in the car, we drive to the office, we go in the office, so we don't spend any time, we don't have any exposure to sun, which one of the great benefits is vitamin D that you absorb from the sun. And unfortunately, because of many holes, let's call them that way, in our nutrition, it's much harder to absorb the vitamin D, and we pretty much take it and we pee it out. So we need to spend much more time in the on the sun in order for us to get the necessary amount of vitamin D. Excuse me. And of course, now someone will say, "Yeah, Milko, that's true, but what about skin cancer and so on and so forth?" So, sun doesn't really cause skin cancer. Sun is the thing that kind of brings it out of the body. So if you have cancer cells and damaged cells and so on, it actually takes them out. So that's how molds are created and so on and so forth. And of course, you need to have some balance. You can't just go in the middle of the summer at 2 p.m. and stay 5 hours outside on the sun and expect not to have any problems in the future, because the best sun is early in the morning until maybe, it depends on the country that you live in, but until around maybe 11 a.m. So after that, the sun gets stronger, especially if you're in a country like Australia, for example. There the sun gets very severe. So the early morning hours are the best hours to expose yourself to sun. And of course, sunscreen, that's the times that you don't really need sunscreen, because there are many studies that show that actually sunscreen is one of the main reasons to cause skin cancer and so on. So because it stuck the pores and they can't breathe and so on. So I'm not going to go now. I don't want to open some conspiracies here and start some argument that is pointless, because the idea is just spend some time, but make sure spend some time in the sun, but make sure it's controlled and you don't just go and fall asleep and stay all day on the sun and get burned in Australia, for example, where is the strongest sun, one of the strongest sun. So another thing that we get from nature, something that we also lack because we're all the time clothed and we are all the time covered with clothes and so on and so forth, is cold and hot exposure. So hot exposure is something that we are more exposed to. We have much more from it because we are all the time with clothes. We are all the time heating on aircon and so on. So we are pretty much more exposed to heat than to cold. And we very rarely spend time without clothes. So our body and our skin actually needs to regulate the body temperature and so on. So cold exposure is extremely, 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 extremely important for us because it helps. It has so many benefits for the body and for the mind too. It helps our lymphatic system, which is directly it's part of the immune system. It also helps us get rid of toxins. It improves our immunity and so on. It's like so many benefits of being out on the cold. And of course, you don't need to be stupid. Don't do stupid things, and don't just go out naked and stay in the winter, in the middle of the winter, on the top of the mountain without any clothes, and just expect that you become healthier and not going to die. Most likely you will die from cold. So be smart. The cold exposure need to be controlled. It doesn't need to be just go throw yourself in the frozen lake and then wait there and expect for you to something to come out of yourself. Do it gradually, but usually when you go in nature, if you go somewhere higher in the mountain, it's a bit more cold. You can take off your shirt. If you're active, it's very likely that it depends. Like girls can take off their shirt most of the times, depends. But make sure you're as much exposed to the snow, to the cold, and to the sun as possible. during your, for example, hike or activity in the nature. So you get also cold exposure and sun exposure and so on. Hot exposure, it's very likely that you get it more and much more than the cold. So cold is great if it's controlled and if you do it smart. So make sure you use your brain. Don't do stupid things. So, okay, going to the next thing. I mentioned activity. Being active in the nature is the best because it combines kind of all the things that I mentioned. You get fresh air because and you breathe, and it helps. And if you're active, you get sweaty most of the time because you also get sun exposure. And even if it's cold and you get cold exposure, you're still very likely to sweat if you do some activity for a bit longer time. So that will help you get rid of toxins, to help you recharge. It helps the blood circulation and so on, and so many benefits that I mentioned so far. And before I mentioned in the previous videos, I'm going to go back to them again. So being active is in the nature is one of the best things that you can do. And also you can do it. There's another thing called that now is very fashionable, let's call it that way. It's called grounding, which literally means being walking barefoot somewhere in the nature, but not go and walk in the forest on the and somewhere there where there is asphalt or concrete, and then you walk barefoot there. It still has some benefits, but the best to be if you're really on the nature in the forest, for example, or in a park somewhere on the grass or on the soil somewhere, because it's proven that it actually sucks out your negative energy and it charges you also with positive energy and like a natural energy, which we all need because we're all stuck in this concrete building and in these offices and in front of the electronics and so on and so forth. So that's also one of the benefits, which also helps us reduce stress. And there are lots of receptors on the feet, and it's kind of like a massage on the feet. There are acupuncture things and stuff that I'm not very familiar with, but I know the benefits. So walking also on uneven ground, and it helps our foot to get stronger and the foot muscles. It improves our posture and also massages us and give us all the other benefits from feet massage. If you want, you can have a look a bit more into details. What are the benefits? What are the points? What are the trigger points on the feet? And so on and so forth. So I'm not going to go that into details about that. And the best thing is that you can do it with friends, which means that you can connect with your friends and have fun. And also, if you do it by yourself, it's so calming and relaxing, and it's so taking you out of all the noise and all the craziness and stuff, that it helps you connect with yourself and clear your mind and think clearly and so on. So it's incredible in every way. And you can do sports in the nature, which you get the much more benefits if you do them in the gym. You can do sports in the nature. You can be active. You can do fun activities, like everything. You can pretty much do everything, whatever you enjoy. You can do it in nature. You can do surfing, skiing. I love skiing, for example. I love surfing too. I'm not as good, unfortunately, as I would like to, but I have time to improve, and I want to do it. And even if you just try to do it and just go in the water, as I've done many times, I just go in the water with my surfboard and I paddle and I paddle and I paddle and I don't get any waves and stuff. It's still great. You still get incredible benefits. And also skiing, even if you're not good in skiing, just the time that you make. Actually, if you're not good in the sport, it's much more likely to be harder for you physically and to spend more energy than actually if you're very good. It depends what kind of things you do, but most likely swimming is the same. You can go and swim in the ocean, you can go swim in some lake somewhere outside and so on, which is also incredible. And like you can see, I was watching recently, I don't remember her name, some lady that she was like 60 years old or something, and she was swimming every single morning she was somewhere in the mountain. She was swimming every single morning in some lake that the water was very low temperature. It was very cold, and she was like maybe more than 60 years old. I don't remember exactly the number, but she was older, and she looked like she looked much younger than me, and I'm in my 30s and I'm 30 years old. So she looked younger than she looked like 25 years old. So just because pretty much most of her life she was spending swimming in this lake. So it's also good anti-aging thing. Of course, everything in limits, everything need to be smart. You can't just go and never swim in a, and you can't swim and you go and you jump in a frozen lake and then you die from cold or you lose your fingers or toes and so on. So be smart, don't just do stupid things. So let me check. I think that's pretty much I covered most of the things. So another thing is the most important, and the idea of these videos, why I do these videos, the idea is for you to understand that you have the control, not complete control, but you have control over your health, and you can improve the control, you can make it better, and you can do much more with your health than you think, and you can improve it. And not only your health, but your life, you can improve in every single moment somehow. So there is always a way. Sometimes it can be a small difference that you, something small that you do, some small improvement. But in the long term, if you're consistent, which is the other key to success and to happy life, if you're consistent, then it's very likely that you get great results. Because if you look at even a small change, like a little 1 degree, when with the time it increases. It's I need to do it this camera. So if you start small with the time, it increases, and then somewhere along the way it reaches a big point. Can't really show it. I can't get the camera where it goes, but the idea is if you're consistent and you keep trying to improve, you'll get where you want to go, or even in a better place, and you will have much better life than you have ever expected that you can have. Just be consistent. You can also um, plan. You can also plan, for example, spending time in the nature. Just plan it, put it in your calendar and say this day, this Saturday, this Sunday, or this evening I'll spend 2 hours in the, even half an hour, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, even if you spend in the forest, for example, to be much more beneficial than if you don't spend them and you spend them in Netflix or on scrolling on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and whatever else you find. So pretty much that's for the day. If you want to go in depth with me and more into details and more how to recover and how to improve your health, I did a course. I'm still working on it. It will be ready in maybe a few weeks. Now the price is this why the price is very low at the moment because I'm still working on it. But you can sign for it and then receive all the course with the benefits and all the free bonuses with on this price that it is now. So there I focus as here on these live videos, but here I can cover as much. It's you focus on I focus on nutrition is the first key for, in my opinion. Then we have activity, movement. Then we have recovery, and the last but not least, actually the most important, is mind and mindset, and how to combine them all, how to improve them all one by one, and how to do it in a way that they all work together and improve your health and improve your life and have the best life that you can have. And the thing is, you can do it. It's not going to be easy. Trust me, if there was a magic pill, I was going to know about it and I was going to suggest you, but unfortunately, for nothing so far, that from my life and my life experience, I haven't found a magic pill. So it's not going to be easy, but if you do the things and you're consistent and keep doing it, you'll get a great result and you'll have greater life. So that's all for me for today. I'll see you tomorrow in the live videos. I will put the link for the course for whoever wants to sign up in the comments, and make sure you watch tomorrow and enjoy your life. See you.